So, my name is Leon Sylvester, and I struggled with alcohol for close to 10 years. And when I say I struggled, I mean that I battled with an alcohol addiction. I didn't just drink for 10 years and then one day say, all right, I'm going to stop. That wasn't my situation at all. I had the desire to change, but I would always get pulled back in. Something would always take me back to the drink. And I don't know how many times I've relapsed because I've lost count. I've got no idea. But it wasn't just like I relapsed like that. What ended up happening is I made some massive mistakes during those 10 years that in hindsight, I'm like, why did I even do that? So today, what I'm going to do is break down the big mistakes that I made when I was trying to get sober. And once I fixed those mistakes, 7 years ago, I stopped drinking and I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since. It has literally been 7 years without a single drop of alcohol. And my life has never looked the same again. It's been the best decision I've ever made. And it's uncomfortable for me to talk about these mistakes because it's embarrassing. But I'm hoping that by me opening up and being honest with you, I can share some things with you that stop you from making those very same mistakes. And very quickly, if you want instant access to a brand new video training that I've just finished showing you how to control alcohol in as little as 48 hours, then click the link in the description. This new method is not about using willpower therapy or AA meetings, it's totally different. I do not publish this video anywhere else online and it's already changing thousands of lives, so click the link below for instant access. Once you're on the next page, enter your name and email address and your free training will begin. It takes just 7 minutes to watch, but it'll feel like somebody flicks a switch in your brain. And honestly, I'm not sure when I'll start charging for this 7-minute video training. That's how good it is. But whilst it's still available, click the link below, enter your name and email address, and watch that video now. So, the first mistake, number 1, and this is the foundation of all the other mistakes, is that I was using willpower to not drink alcohol. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you'll have heard me talk about this dozens of times. But here's the problem. If I am using willpower to not drink alcohol, what am I doing? Well, I'm resisting drinking. I'm having a thought of drinking, I'm having a craving, and I'm just being strong. I'm being a man. I'm just fighting it. I'm a fighter. That's what I do. I've got willpower. Making this video requires willpower, right? Getting married, starting a family, having a long-term relationship, getting in great shape. These are all things that I'm doing or have done, and these aren't things that require a small amount of willpower. I don't want to be cocky, but I've got on a strength training program before and squatted 200 kilograms, which is like, I don't know, 450 pounds in American units. But you can't do something like that without having some form of human will. Squatting and deadlifting and doing this kind of stuff sucks, but I can do it. So logically, if I've got a lot of willpower, if I'm quite a strong-willed individual, then surely I can just resist this idea of drinking. Yet, the more willpower I used, the more I wanted to drink. See, willpower and not drinking alcohol are totally unrelated. You can be Muhammad Ali in his prime that's, got all these women getting thrown at him, all this money, all of this freedom. He's reached the pinnacle of his career.
The stage is set for me to be ranked as the greatest of all time.
And he even says this in an interview. Let me play it.
Yeah, what's the central part of your training? Is it running? Is it sparring? Or
Central part is dodging the nightclubs and the parties and the girls. You want the truth? And being in the bed by yourself at 9 o'clock at night. And if you can get by that, you'll make it.
See, that is a strong-willed person. And you can be Muhammad Ali, but when it comes to stopping drinking, it isn't going to work. And it's all because of the subcommunication that's happening in your mind. See, if I was to tell you right now that you are no longer allowed to drink apple juice, how much effort would that require? Would you need to do what Muhammad Ali did and avoid it for the rest of your life? If you was driving your car past an apple tree, would you pray God that you don't go up to the apple tree and start squeezing out the apples and drinking the apple juice? Would you have to resist it? No. You just drink an orange juice or a pineapple juice or whatever. It would take zero willpower for you to not drink apple juice for the rest of your life. And this is the problem with using willpower, because the harder you try, the more you want it. They're not related. You are subcommunicating that giving up alcohol was something to give up in the first place. We'll get back to that in the 5th mistake, but the first thing that I had to stop doing, and the first thing I'm going to tell you to do, is to stop using willpower. What you need to do instead is build a new paradigm. I promise you, Once you do this, stopping drinking isn't hard, it's not difficult, it requires no willpower, it's a decision. And that decision feels like somebody just flicks a switch in your brain. Now, this process is something that I teach my clients in my coaching program, soberclear.com. If you want information on that, just go to the website. But the other way you can do it is by using first principles thinking. This is a problem-solving mental model which involves breaking down complex problems into their component parts, studying the individual component parts, putting them back together, and building a new worldview. How do you do that? Well, you take courses, right? You read books, you watch videos just like mine. Maybe there's other YouTubers out there with a similar idea, but you study new information, you break the problem down, and you fix the beliefs that you have until you see alcohol as a poison, as ethanol, as something that does nothing for you. Like I said, if you want help doing it, this is exactly what I help people do. But let's get into the second major mistake. So, when I didn't drink alcohol, I would get emotions. The problem is because I'd spent the best part of 10 years drinking alcohol, any emotion that I'd feel is I would immediately turn to drinking. And I'm talking here about negative emotions. So for example, let's say, I don't know, I was bored, right? I was at home on my own, there was nothing going on that night, I'd finished work and I'm just sat around. And then I get this emotion of boredom. First thing that would come to my head, have a drink, right? It might happen if I was lonely, right? Maybe, I don't know, my partner's away and she's in another country or whatever, right? Maybe I feel lonely one day. People get lonely. We all get lonely. What would I do with that feeling? Want to drink. I just wanted the feeling to go away. And what I did is because I spent so long drinking alcohol is that any negative emotion that I'd feel is I'd have this immediate association with alcohol. Because I'm not going to lie. When I'd drink the drug, when I'd take the drug, for a moment there'd be a relief. 20 minutes, the boredom's gone. The loneliness is gone. But that's a pretty dangerous cycle. Negative feeling, drink. Negative feeling, drink. Because the problem with doing this is usually if you feel some sort of negativity or some negative emotion, that's a sign. It's a sign that there's maybe something wrong with your life. If you're feeling bored, then maybe you should be doing something better with your time. But then what people do is they get that feeling, they drink, and it's a cycle that just goes on and on and on. But I want to remind you that any negative emotion that you feel, if you're drinking alcohol to get rid of the emotion, it doesn't fix anything. Your life will stay exactly the same. You'll get a moment of relief, but at what cost? Well, I'll tell you the cost. You drink a carcinogen, you drink something that will put you in a grave early, you drink something that is absolute dog. It's a pure poison for a moment of relief. But the real problem is drinking alcohol is a chain reaction that never ends until you decide to stop doing it. So all you're doing by escaping these negative emotions is continuing that very same chain reaction. It's a pretty damn dangerous game to play. But I've been there. The third mistake that I made, and this is the total opposite to what I just said, but maybe I was at a place in life where something good had happened. There was a time where I actually stopped drinking alcohol with willpower. Big mistake, but I got sober. I got sober for a pretty long period of time. It was 7, 8, 9 months. I can't remember the exact dates, but I didn't drink. And everything went in the right direction. I had a personal training business. I was in good shape. I was in a relationship. I was finishing my degree in Oxford. I had a nice car. Everything was just going in the right direction. And I didn't drink because I was bored or lonely or tired or wanted, to relieve some stress. The biggest relapse I ever had was drinking because life was going well. It was a New Year's Eve party and I thought, why not? Everybody around me's drinking. Everybody around me's having a good time. I've not drank for 7 or 8 or 9 months, however long it had been. I had more money in my bank than I'd ever had in my life at this point. And I thought, yeah, screw it. Why not? Let's celebrate. And that's the problem with using willpower. See, I never changed the way that I viewed alcohol. And I didn't expect that to happen. That one kind of came at the side. I would never have gone to that place if I knew that was going to happen. But it happened. And that's very, very common. So many of us don't know how to celebrate without turning to a drink. The champagne, cheersing the glass, congratulations. But that's society. That's what society encourages. You do not need to poison yourself to celebrate winning in life. Because the very act of poisoning yourself is then taking you further away from the best version of yourself that can create more wins in the first place. Logically, it makes no sense. It's a mistake I made, and it's one that you will probably need to look out for. Now, the fourth one, and this is probably the most dangerous of all, at least for me, not for everybody, but I had this fantasy that one day I could be a normal drinker. So when I drank alcohol, there was a period that I stopped drinking, but I had a very successful friend. He was a professor. He has an amazing career. He's incredibly financially successful. He's very charming. He's very good looking. He's very smooth. And he was very sophisticated. And I kind of looked up to this guy. But he drank. And he didn't drink like I drank. He was one of these normal drinkers. And I would look at this person with admiration. I'd think, that's how I want to be. I want to be able to drink like he does. Have his life together. Have a relationship. Have this, have that. And then just have a glass of wine with dinner. And this idea that this time that I drink is going to be different to all the other times that led me to drinking multiple times. Now, I'm so happy that I don't see that person with envy anymore. I don't want to be like them. Sure, I still admire them for who they are and what they've done, but they didn't achieve that because they drank. They achieved that in spite of drinking alcohol. I don't feel envy for anybody that drinks poison. If only they knew how better life would be without it. Because if they did, then they wouldn't do it. But like most of society, they've been conditioned to see it a certain way. And sure, there are varying degrees of severity and there are people out there that are these normal drinkers, but there's probably people out there that smoke the worst drugs in the world and they're probably functioning. That's nothing to envy. If anything, it's kind of sad. And that might sound harsh, it might sound critical, it might mean that you look at people a little bit differently, but that's okay. I'm a very open-minded person. I don't believe in binary thinking, right and wrong, yes and no, this or that, in anything except alcohol. It's the only thing that I have total black and white thinking against or for, whatever you would say. When I think of this idea of being a normal drinker, I'm just so happy I'm past that. But the fifth and final mistake, and what all of this is built up upon, is all of these things create a feeling of missing out. That's what was happening. I felt like I was missing out on something. I was missing out on escaping. I was missing out on socializing with drinking. I was missing out on being able to celebrate. So because I felt this fear of missing out, that's why I had to use willpower. If I didn't feel like I was missing out, I wouldn't need to resist anything. You have got nothing to miss out on. Once you see alcohol for what it is, once you see it as a drug, as a poison, as ethanol, there's actually nothing to even give up. You just make a trade. You exchange this foul substance for the life of your dreams. And I don't know what that is. Maybe for you, it's getting in peak shape, being there for your family. There's nothing to miss out on by drinking that drug. But actually, there is something to miss out on if you drink alcohol, and it's who you could be. Now, if you want to see some of the secrets to actually getting in control of your drinking, then you definitely want to click the video on the screen right now.